Have you ever walked into a place that made you feel instantly uneasy, like the air was heavy or your energy was drained? Carl Jung believed that our environment has a profound impact on our psyche. But he went even further. He warned of specific kinds of places that are dangerous to the soul, not just physical locations, but psychological landscapes that can trap and destroy us. Jung warned that we must guard our inner life as carefully as our outer life. Because just as you wouldn't walk into a collapsing building, you shouldn't allow yourself to remain in places that poison your soul. In this video, we'll uncover 7 of these dangerous places Jung says you must avoid if you want to protect your mind, your spirit, and your path to wholeness. As you listen, ask yourself, am I trapped in one of these places right now? 1. The place of collective blindness. Jung often warned about the collective, the powerful energy of the crowd. On one hand, it can unite people and give meaning, but on the other, it can swallow individuality whole. The place of collective blindness is any environment where the truth is sacrificed for belonging. Think of mobs, political cults, or even social media echo chambers. Everyone repeats the same slogans, shares the same outrage, and follows the same patterns, without stopping to ask, is this really me? Do I even believe this? Jung believed that when the individual mind dissolves into the crowd, the shadow of humanity emerges. That's when people commit acts they would never have imagined alone: violence, cruelty, or blind obedience to authority. His warning was clear. Never lose yourself in the collective, because the crowd doesn't have a conscience, but you do. 2. The place of constant distraction. Jung believed that one of the greatest dangers to the human soul is noise. Constant, relentless noise. Not just literal noise, but the noise of endless distractions. It's the place where people fill every silence with something: music blaring, phones buzzing, screens glowing. At first, distraction feels harmless, even comforting. But Jung would argue it's one of the most dangerous places you can stay, because distraction keeps you from ever meeting yourself. When your mind is always occupied, you never hear the whisper of the unconscious. You never face the deeper questions. Who am I? What do I really want? What is my life trying to tell me? Instead, you numb yourself with scrolling, binge-watching, or chasing stimulation. Jung wrote that solitude and silence are essential if you want to grow, but the place of distraction lures you away from silence, because silence can be uncomfortable. It forces you to see the parts of yourself you've buried. Yet avoiding silence means avoiding transformation. This place looks bright and entertaining, but in truth, it is a trap that robs you of your inner voice. 3. The place of shadows you refuse to face. Jung believed that inside each of us lives a shadow, everything we deny, repress, or reject about ourselves. Our anger, jealousy, fears, impulses, and even hidden talents we're too afraid to own. The dangerous place is not the shadow itself, but the refusal to face it. Imagine a room in your house where you keep locking away all the things you don't want to deal with. At first, it seems tidy, out of sight, out of mind. But over time, that room becomes haunted. The energy builds, and eventually it bursts out, often in destructive, uncontrollable ways. This is what happens when you avoid your shadow. You see it projected onto others. Suddenly, the faults you refuse to admit in yourself appear everywhere in the people around you, or the shadow takes over in moments of rage, addiction, cruelty, or self-sabotage. Jung warned, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The place of unacknowledged shadows is dangerous because it tricks you into believing you're pure, when in truth, you're at the mercy of everything you've hidden. To escape it, you must enter that dark room and face what you've locked away, because only then can you integrate it. and only then can you truly be whole. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps more people discover these ideas, and if you're enjoying this journey into the mysteries of the mind, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, back to the video. 4. The place of dead symbols. For Jung, symbols were not just pretty images or cultural decorations. They were living bridges between the conscious and the unconscious, gateways to deeper meaning. A cross, a mandala, a myth, even a personal dream symbol. All of these carried power when they were alive, when they spoke to the soul. But the danger arises when symbols become hollow, when they are repeated without spirit, clung to without understanding, or used only as decoration. This is the place of dead symbols. It can be found in a culture that repeats rituals no one believes in anymore, in a society that drains myths of meaning, or even in your own life, when you go through the motions of something that once inspired you, but now feels empty. Jung warned that when symbols die, the soul starves. Without living symbols, we lose the ability to connect with the unconscious, to find meaning, and to grow spiritually. We might still say the words, wear the emblems, or perform the rituals, but the spark is gone. And when the spark is gone, life becomes dry, mechanical, and soulless. This place is dangerous because it tricks you into thinking you are connected to something greater, when in reality, you're feeding on ashes. To escape, you must breathe life back into your symbols, or discover new ones that truly speak to your spirit. 5. The place of possession. When most people hear the word possession, they think of demons or horror films. But Jung meant something different, and in many ways, more frightening. Psychological possession. This is the place where an idea, an archetype, or a role takes full control of your personality. Instead of being a whole, balanced individual, you become the mask you wear. The mother who lives only for her children. The worker who exists only for the job. The victim who builds their entire identity around suffering. At first, this kind of possession doesn't look dangerous. In fact, society often rewards it. A person possessed by ambition may become wealthy. A person possessed by an ideology may gain followers. But Jung warned, when an archetype rules you, you lose the self. You are no longer a free, conscious being. You're a puppet. And possession always has a dark side. The devoted parent becomes controlling. The ambitious leader becomes tyrannical. The victim becomes manipulative. The archetype uses the person, draining their life force until there is nothing left but the mask. Jung's advice: watch carefully for the moments when you say, "This is all I am. This is my only identity." That's the red flag of possession, because the truth is, you are more than any single role, and the self cannot be reduced to one mask. 6. The place of the forgotten self. Jung believed the greatest tragedy is not death. It's never becoming who you truly are. He called this process individuation, the lifelong journey of discovering and living out your authentic self. The dangerous place, then, is where you abandon that journey, where you betray your own nature in exchange for approval, comfort, or survival. It's the person who takes a job they hate and convinces themselves it's good enough. The man who hides his sensitivity because society told him it was weakness. The woman who silences her voice because speaking her truth would upset others. On the surface, this place often looks safe. Life may even seem easier when you play the role others expect. But Jung warned, the price of betraying yourself is the slow death of the soul. The forgotten self doesn't disappear. It waits in the unconscious, growing restless, bitter, and hungry, and sooner or later it will break through, often in the form of depression, anxiety, or a deep sense that life has no meaning. As Jung wrote, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. To stay in the place of the forgotten self is to throw away that privilege. The danger isn't that you'll fail, it's that you'll succeed at becoming someone you're not. 7. The place of stagnation. There is one place Jung considered especially dangerous because it disguises itself as peace. Stagnation. This is the place where nothing grows, nothing changes, nothing moves. Life feels safe here. You know what to expect. You avoid risk, and you never have to face the unknown. But Jung believed the psyche is like a river. It must flow. When it stops, it begins to rot. In the place of stagnation, people tell themselves they're comfortable, but beneath the surface, the soul is suffocating. Anxiety, emptiness, and restlessness creep in, not because of chaos, but because of stillness without growth. Jung warned that when we refuse the call to transformation, life itself punishes us with symptoms that force us to evolve. Think of a person stuck in the same job for decades, never learning, never risking, or someone who stays in a dead relationship because it feels safer than being alone. On the outside, it may look calm, but on the inside, it's decay. Jung's message is simple. Safety without growth is not peace. It's death in slow motion. The psyche demands movement, and avoiding change is one of the most dangerous places you can ever stay. Carl Jung's warnings are not about geography. They are about the landscapes of the soul, the places we enter, often without realizing it, that quietly drain our spirit and lead us away from wholeness. They promise comfort, belonging, or safety, but they demand the highest price: your freedom, your individuality, your soul. Avoiding them doesn't mean running away from life. It means walking into life with your eyes open. Because Jung's ultimate message was this: your task is not to live safely, it's to live fully. So let me ask you, have you ever found yourself trapped in one of these places? And how did you find your way out? Share your story in the comments below. And if you found this video meaningful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.